folks, how are you? This is Jim Miner, your realtor from South Scottsdale. Hey, I wanted to bring you the week-ending Cromford report prepared by Michael Orr from Arizona State University. And let's jump right into it like we always do, because Michael's brought us some really interesting things, which he always does. The first thing I wanted to put up was this is called the market share of monthly sales by price range. Kind of a big mouthful, but let's break this down a little bit because it's very interesting. Okay, these lines here are color coordinated, and if you go up here you can see the price ranges, and these are showing the percentages of monthly sales in a particular price range, and you can see the breakout right here on the price range. Over here you see the percentages of monthly sales. Across the bottom, it's broken out by month per year. Now, here's what I want you to do is go to June of 2013, year ago, okay, and just draw this line straight up here, okay, because when you do that and then look this direction, then you see what kind of changes occurred in that particular price range. Now, if you look up here and you see this 200 to 300, let's go back to June and mark, and I'll just put the cursor right there. And you can see it's currently making up 25.7% of the sales, but you can see that line has made a move to the upside. Now you say, what's so magical about that group? Hey, that's a big group spacing for a lot of FHA purchases. Okay, you can't make an FHA purchase over $300,000. It's actually less than that, but you can't make it over 300, and that's why that group has not moved as aggressively. You see the 300 to 500 group, you come down to that line right here. We go up here to June, you can see it's essentially flat. One other one, I want you to take note of this, okay? Here we go, 0 to 100K, from 0 to $100,000. Look what's happened to that line. Boy, that thing has come down to where it's 10% of monthly sales, and it's come down from 44.5. If we go back to June a year ago, you can see it still has declined. They're just flat out. There are not as many properties as there were. Okay, all right, kind of interesting chart. You can pause your video and you can watch this and look at the different lines on there. So let's keep moving. Okay, let's get on up here. I want to show you another chart. It's kind of interesting here, and that we'll get right over here. I got all these things in here that Michael's got for us. Got to make sure I click on the right thing. And this is going to show some interesting things. Okay, this is the overall market movement per city, and I'm going to show like 3 or 4 cities. The big thing here to understand is, for those of you who've been watching, you already know this, but those of you who are coming on board are fairly new. See this 100 right here? It's real important to understand that's your baseline. That's where supply and demand are in equilibrium, okay? Anything below 100 is a buyer's market. Anything above 100 is a seller's market, okay? So what do we have going here? Well, we've got the city of Phoenix, and let's start with Phoenix, okay? And I'm just covering 3 years here. We have 2012, 13, 14. 2012's black. Here's the black line. Now this is kind of weird, but it's actually really informative. Remember, here are the months across the bottom. Here's where we find out where we are, buyer or seller market. And if you go to the end of 2012, you can see we had a rating of 175.7. That's above 100. That is a big time seller market, okay? And then if you look at the end of this, this will be where you have the beginning of 2013. And the end of this will coincide with the beginning of 2014. And you can see we slid off, and now we've kind of gone flat across here. We're at 80.8. For the whole city of Phoenix, they're saying, hey, this is a buyer's market. Okay? All right, so you're going to get the hang of this chart. Now, let's pop up here. Let's take a look at, well, let's look at Chandler. Now you can see Chandler's a little bit different. Now you can see these are the past years. You can see, my goodness, over here it was 200 in 2013 in March. March, April, May, June, and then this thing started sliding down. But you know, when you were talking to your neighbor in September and said, hey, I'm going to sell my house, you got your good price in April, I know I can get my price. Guess what? Had you been watching this report, you would say, oops, not going to happen. And what's Chandler doing now? It's continuing to go down. Kind of one of the few areas that is moving to the downside like this. Now, hey, you know what? Let's shoot on out and take a look at Gilbert. It's kind of close to Chandler. And you can see here, remember this is 2014, it's making a turn to the upside. Okay, but it's below 100. That's still a buyer's market. And then we want to take a look at Scottsdale. And here we are. Look at this. I like it. Scottsdale started off, equilibrium, dropped down, but now it's starting to turn to the upside. Still a buyer's market, but remember this is all of all of Scottsdale. South Scottsdale is stronger. The location, the affordability is allowing better pricing, and the prices are holding. Buyers are not getting the concessions that you would find in the outlying areas. Okay, so I like this. I like seeing this trending up like this. Good deal. Okay, now let's go up and look at our dashboard. We always take a look at the dashboard, and we have to wait for it to load, of course, as you all know, with this screaming fast machine that I've got here. And we'll start with Cromford Index. And for those of you who are new, once again, remember below 100 is a buyer's market. Above 100 is a seller's market. So you can see the trend line here for the market. It's at 88, okay, but it's moving up. Here's where things are going to get a little more interesting. Let's take a look at the supply. That is called moving down, okay, so the supply is moving down. We're at 91.3. Here's the demand. Demand has been moving down. We've been talking about that for the last several months, but now demand is kind of making that turn to the upside. Yet the market is showing movement up. Well, that's what we have, is the market's kind of an equilibrium. Demand is holding, but supply is shrinking. Thus, we're headed up toward hopefully a state of equilibrium. Okay, now the other thing we do is we always check and look at the pending listings. Pending listings, here we are. It's and that's just, you can see right there, that's June 11th. Here we are. This pending listings, there just are not, we're off 35% from last year, the number of pending listings. That tells you demand is way off compared to what it was. Okay, the demand isn't there. Remember basic economics, demand isn't there. It's going to be tough to get those top dollar prices, okay? And then the other thing we want to look at is days on market. We always check that out. You can see that's kind of just holding flat across here as it's been, okay? Hey, that's it for this week. Couple good signs out there, which we like to see. I like seeing that Scottsdale turning up. The market's moving up. The market in the sense of moving away from buyers and headed toward maybe a seller's market. Not looking for get extremes, just get a balanced market. Okay, but you still have pockets around it. Remember, right now, downtown Phoenix, Arcadia, South Scottsdale are doing very, very well. You get out on the periphery, it's a little bit tougher. What's the periphery? The Avondale, the Goodyear, the Queens Creek, Maricopa. And Chandler right now is, it's soft in Chandler. Gilbert is starting to firm up finally, because it was a disaster at the first year, which we could see in all this information. Saw it ahead of the other folks out there reading the big national newspapers going, oh, this is the way it's going to be. Michael Orr, he's so good at pointing this stuff out. Anyway, enough of that. Hey, we will talk to you next week. And this is Jim Miner, your realtor from South Scottsdale. And if you would like to get more information like many of my clients do, just give me a call. 602-345-0433, and I look forward to seeing you and speaking with you at the end of next week. Bye now.